Coach, do you see a look in your guys after a loss, for whatever reason, that might be different when the times are good? Did you see it at shoot-around? Did you see it before the game? And why the difference after a loss that you're a far better team?
I don't know. First of all, you have to give credit to who we're playing, the competition. This is elite-level basketball. So they kicked our butts the other night. Yesterday was a miserable day. Probably one of the strengths of this team is instead of pointing fingers or deflecting, it's just getting to the heart of the matter, and we were all horrible. So there's a better response today. In terms of body language and facial expressions, I don't read those too well.
Open the right.
Are we making sometimes a little too much about adjustments? Isn't like making shots and turnover the keys, like LeBron was making the mid-range jumper with consistency today, for instance?
Look, he was the top perimeter jump shooter all year. You're talking about a leading scorer in the league. So his aggressiveness set the tone, being able to get into the paint. But he's had the whole menu all year long, in the post, on drives, jumpers, whatever's needed.
Kevin in the back.
Kevin Arnovitz, ESPN.com. By virtue of going small, Chris had a lot more responsibility. And in terms of rim protection in the offense, defending the pick and roll, how do you feel he did?
Yeah, there's no question about it. When we play with those lineups, he's the last man there. I mean, we do have some hybrid wings, so you saw Dwyane and LeBron back there as well. But we need Chris to be big and to do so many different things and wear a lot of different hats. We play him offensively everywhere on the floor, but defensively battling against a Hall of Famer, and then helping us clean up the glass really gave us a boost.
Do you sense he has a different approach when he's out there as the lone big? Does he conform his game to the new plan, or is it just Chris being Chris?
It's part human nature, and we also talked about it. There's nobody else. You look around, and that's it. So all of our guys need to be big. Not only CB, but Dwyane has to be sometimes a de facto power forward for us. Same thing with LJ, particularly against a team like this that gets you scrambling and running around on closeouts and that type of thing. There's different guys back there at the rim.
Ethan
Skolnick, Palm Beach Post. Eric over here. You made a lineup change. Were you surprised when they came out with Splitter guarding Wade? The way that they adjusted? I know he took him out after a minute, but
yeah, it was only after a minute. I mean, they're playing so off of both those guys. It didn't shock me.
Okay. And the way that Dwyane got himself into the game, he had no rebounds in the last game. He had 6 in this game. Just his general activity level.
No, his floor game was there from the beginning. The 6 steals, but the deflections, his activity around the rim when he was there. We obviously have so much more versatility when our wings cover that type of ground. But he was extremely aggressive tonight.
Mike on this side.
Yeah, Mike Monroe, San Antonio Express News. The Spurs had 19 offensive rebounds last game. They didn't get their first offensive rebound until the second half, had only 5. How important was that to keep?
It's big, those extra possessions, because oftentimes you have to defend 20 seconds in the clock, and they get you moving. They execute with great precision. They get you running around. They pass the ball extremely well. That can be extremely deflating. You play a 20-second, 23-second possession, and you cough up an offensive rebound that leads to a 3. That can be extremely deflating. So our guys understand the challenge. It's not easy. We're not expecting for it to be easy at this level, but to cover the ground all the way to the 3 with their passing and then finish it off with rebounding. If we don't do that, we won't win.
Michael in the back.
Eric, you guys get the win here in San Antonio to reestablish home court advantage. How much does that change the complexion of this series now, knowing that it's going to be determined on your court?
That's way too far to think about. Okay, first of all, we understood this game was a survival game, but all we're going to think about is the next game, and that'll be enough on our plate. Okay, because this series is being decided, by this. It might not be that way in the games, but in terms of how competitive it actually is. So we'll have enough to deal with the next couple days.
Over here.
Coach, Jeff Kaplan, NBA.com. Both of your wins, turnovers, a huge factor. What are you guys doing right when you're creating those turnovers? Is it simply effort, as you sort of talked about after Game 3? And then particularly on Tony Parker in the second half, holding him down after 15 in the first.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We try to play aggressively. It's a fine line with that team. You're talking about the best passing team in the league. Veteran, poised players that can both shoot, pass, and dribble. Put the ball on the floor. They get you moving around. But we have to be committed wholeheartedly to our identity, and that's to be aggressive. But if we're a count late, lack of focus, not connected, 5-man, they embarrass you.
Were there any changes you guys made in the second half on Parker necessarily?
Not really. No. He was just carving us up.
We're going to go last three. John, Ramona, and up here, Dave.
Eric John Krasinski with AP. Dwyane has never had a problem in this series in the first half. It always just seems in the second half he hasn't been able to sustain it. What allowed him to do that tonight and to even really get better in the second half?
I mean, first of all, you have to give credit to them for holding us down in a couple of games. They're a good defensive team, so that's what this competition is all about. How do you figure it out? He knew that he got in a great rhythm in the first half, and for us to win this game, he'd have to continue to be aggressive. Even in the beginning of the fourth quarter, we had to take LeBron out, and we just left him over there, and Dwyane and CB really took some of the load.
Ramona in the back.
How is LeBron different in this game?
Just able to be aggressive. They don't make it easy. There's going to be people in the paint. He was making the right reads. We were able to get in a better flow of some off of misses, a couple turnovers, got us in the open court. Everybody knows our formula. Everybody knows their formula. The tough part is doing it against elite competition. So the aggressive start probably set the tone.
Did you ever have any sense that during the last couple of days that he was pressing, trying to find that aggressiveness again?
Not necessarily. It just takes time to figure out an opponent. Each round is different. The challenge is different. This is a much different challenge than what we came out of the Eastern Conference. He was making the right plays, but you have to give credit to their defense. They kept us out of the paint 2 of the games, and we'll see what happens the next game.
Dave, last question.
Eric, the so-called Big Three, they were averaging 43 points this first 3 games. They had, I think, if my math's right, 85 tonight. If they have games like that, I mean, is that the gear you've been waiting for them to get to in this series?
It was a little bit of everything, though, that they provided for us. All of them provided us great energy defensively, and that got us off to a decent start. And quite obviously, they're big components to what we do offensively. We run almost every trigger through them. This happened to be a game where they were all able to be aggressive. The next game might present a different challenge, but we needed every bit of it tonight.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, thank you.